All right, today, YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, Twitch stream, we're doing the tier list. K-Pow, who you want, bro? How much to bribe you to put Sol in A instead of S? Yeah, this is just the beta tier list, guys. Don't overreact. It's just a beta tier list. It's just a beta tier list. Ozfish, thanks so much. What did he say? Just a beta copium. The balance in this game, I think, is pretty good outside of a couple outstanding characters. Fizzle the Hizzle, thanks so much. Chip. Okay, we got Chip. I'm just moving them. And then who's the next one? Oh, Ozfish. Fizzle. So can a mod keep track? Let's talk about Chip. So I only played against Void. Chip felt much better than previous versions. The command grab seems crazy good. The mix really strong, but does not do a ton of damage. But gets really good damage of RCing the combos, and I'm sure those can get a lot better as well when you like RC, fast RC cancel. Coupled with the fact that wall breaks makes it super easy for him to continue building meter. Lower damage really helps Chip a lot. Just helps him, survive more than one hit. Sorta and Corvo, thanks so much. DP is extremely good. Fast, much harder to safe jump DPs now because of the added aerial lag. What else? Only I'll have to see how he performs more against the other characters though. I could still see him do really badly against like Soul, maybe against Ram, but like if he gets in against Ram, I think he could do well. Really like strong normal stuff like that. Probably it's only gonna go up, but I would say around B is what I would put Chip. Like high mid, I would say. I think Chip right now is not too strong, but it's probably only gonna get better. Probably only gonna do better combos. I will look into playing the character if he's not super light on his command grab. Yeah, I could see Chip do well against Void. Chip do well against Ram specifically because once you get in, it's hard for her to get out. But the super will kill you in one hit if it does ever land. I think a lot of people, myself included, does not know how to play against Chip. And I did play Void on really light connection with no coffee in my body. But it did still felt really rough whenever Chip ever got in. Who was the next character? May's next? May. I kind of think May is a little overrated. I don't think she's A. I think May is like better than Chip because she's much simpler and she has really high health. She has a commander, but like her playstyle is so simple and one-dimensional compared to some of the other characters that I have a hard time seeing her go anywhere but down eventually. Like right now she's almost S tier in strength, but I feel like as time goes on, she's probably gonna fall a bit as people just get really good at dealing with her pretty simple playstyle. Not weak playstyle, but still like not super diverse, not super flexible. Could also see her having some rough matches, but she does have high damage, although the damage does seem a little bit lower this patch. She does this god awful voice actor. Overall pretty good though. Would have to play more to really know. Who's the next character? Geo. Giovanna, I think, is the most underrated character. I think Giovanna is legitimately like maybe like top 7, top 5-ish. Giovanna is so strong. Amazing neutral. The dash is actually insanely strong. shits a metric fuck ton of damage. Plus on everything, feels like. Can confirm 1-hit normal, far S, 2S. Incredibly hard to deal with. Doesn't really care about FD or pushback because she slides so much. Throws are really strong. If she has any type of mix with meter, she's going to be a menace because she builds so much meter. Her anti-air got buffed, which was really her big problem. And the fact that jumping is worse in this patch when she doesn't ever really need to jump really helps. Super strong character, very easy, super practical for tournament. Great supers, has the mechanic where she does more damage the more meter you have stored up, which is a very strong mechanic to have in this game because you get so much meter from wall break now. You lost it's so much better. And there's legitimately a lot of cases where you can sit on 100 meter for like half a combo and do like 80% in one hit. Rewards knowing how to do staggers and take throws. Maybe a secondary character for me, not personally interesting enough for me to play full time. So she gets more defense and more damage when she has high health. She gets 5% for both defense and both attack for 50 meter and then 10% total for both on 100. And yeah, Geo has like second highest health even without that. So she's almost as durable as Potemkin. Oh, shut up, Swampin. You can drop it now. If you get Jacko, you can stop the downplaying. Who's the next character? With a buff, she's more durable than Pot. Jesus. She thick, boy. She thick, boy. And she's B. Nagariyuki. Did someone sub for it? A stop the downplay. I'll put them in tiers and stuff like that eventually. I guess that's it. Tier list done. Okay, we'll do Nagariyuki. If you want to sub and make me talk about a specific character, you can do that. Nagariyuki, I think, is in C tier. He definitely feels stronger now, especially when I watched Fame play. Did not feel bad at all. I really don't think Nagariyuki is bad or anything. But is very like hit or miss. Either you destroy them or you get destroyed. Dre, thank you so much. Kai? Sieko, who did you want? Ino? Okay, we'll do Ino then Kai. Okay, so Ino I think is really strong. I think she is maybe better than Giovanna. It's really gonna come down to who Giovanna and Ino happen to do well at. I played a bit of Ino. She's one of the characters I'm really interested in. She has some really hard combos as well. Or like for Strive at least. I think she's only gonna get stronger. Her mix-up is extremely good. Loops, it is airtight. You can't do fucking anything to get out of it, basically. You just have to hold it. You can backdash, you can jump, you can take it. You can't really DP that well either. She's just extremely good at pressuring you. Her neutral is probably a little bit lacking, but it doesn't seem terrible, and her normals are amazing. Like her far slash, her 2S, her dust, her jump normals, they're all insanely big hitboxes. But yeah, I'll have to play more against it. I only played a couple matches against Eno and not too many with it. But I think she just works really well with the game plan. She uses RCing extremely well as to boot. Like if she wall breaks you, she can just like do like her stroke the big tree where she low profiles you, goes full screen, instant Roman cancel grab. Her command grab super does 60% damage and wall breaks and gives you Oki after. She just gets Oki from like everything. Like wake up reversal super, she gets like true mix up on. Like I think she legitimately gets like 4-way mix up if she reversals you. She gets Oki from grab. She gets like so many, like even if you block the first high low, she has more. She has layers on layers on layers. The only thing is she does not do too much damage from some hits on mid screen, but so she's a little bit inconsistent because of that. But I think she's very strong, and definitely a character to look out for. Okay, next up is Kai. I think Kai is probably the most underrated character. I think Kai is clearly not an S tier, but I think Kai is. It's either Kai or Giovanna that's worth the most underrated. Kai's just super fucking solid. He struggles versus Ram, but outside of that, he seems to be really, really solid. Great, like really solid anti-airs, amazing normals, solid pressure as well. Definitely only gonna get better as people figure out how to use blue RC. His backdash is shorter in the air now, but that actually allows him to do better mix in some cases. I think SKD had that. I think 5K got buffed, right? Yeah, so look at this mix. So you do this one and then RC. And then because the air backdash is so short, you can air backdash and then go high. This was not doable. And okay, so the reason first is why don't you just do 4-dash? It's because 4-dash has too much startup. And then obviously he has low too. Yeah, has DP, has amazing normals. Damage is not high, but because everyone's damage got a bit nerfed, it doesn't feel that bad. Builds a ton of meter. Like, I really think Kai is strong. I really think so. Just gets safe jumps from everything. Amazing normals. Doesn't have like the most amazing frame data, and some of his special cancel mind games are kind of weak. That could be a problem. But yeah, I think outside of his Ram matchup, he should probably do fine. Damage is not too high, but again, like just keeps solid pressure up pretty much always. He always wins in neutral, so any character that wins a lot in neutral uses wall breaks really well, I think, because you know they hit you in the wall and then they just keep the pressure up. I'm sure Kai's gonna see more stuff as well with Dragon install, with meter usage, stuff like that. He's definitely an underexplored character, and the reason why is just because there are better, simpler characters right now. Right, hi, thank you for the sub. Which character do you want me to talk about? Any subbers who want me to talk about a character? You are number 1. IMT, thanks so much. I know nothing about this game. All right. IMT, who do you want? Overall, though, like the beta was great. It was really really good to just be able to rematch people. I think the movement nerfs that people talked about were, they weren't the worst, but they weren't. I think most people just overplay them. I saw Reddit just talk about them all the time. I think honestly, it feels like it was just like a collective placebo moment. Everyone just talking about it. Maybe like made themselves think that the movement nerfs were way bigger. Everyone's like, "Oh, I'm playing underwater." Like, no, you're not. Your air backdash is a bit shorter. That's actually it. You can be punished a bit more for spamming jump on defense and really badly spaced like jump ins, stuff like that. Like a bro, dude. IMT said Amelia, and then Axel. It's Mr. KO. Thank you. Amelia. Okay, so Amelia was my main. I think it's the character I like the most. She's a hard character to rank in general. She used to be one of the better characters in the previous patch. I think I put her like 5th in the previous patch. However, she got really nerfed. She arguably got the most nerfs out of any character. I think only really Potemkin has a case for getting more nerfs. Meanwhile, the actual best characters didn't really get nerfed at all and even got some buffs. Amelia only really got one buff that's really relevant. And that's the fact that she has very slightly better Oki from sweep. And it isn't even that much better. It's mostly just easier. She gets worse Oki from hair card. She gets worse Oki from throw. She gets worse Oki from any combo that air to airs, the counter hits. Like she lost her loops. She lost damage. She does get helped by the fact that wall breaks can now kill. That's a system universal mechanic. That didn't used to happen, and it would very often lead you into being one hit away from killing. Unfortunately, though, she just needs too many hits to win, and her defense now with the new changes really, really sucks. Backdashing is really bad as a defensive mechanic, and that is usually something Amelia is known to be good at, like backdashing out of combos, but her backdash not good enough to really matter. Jumping out of pressure used to be her bread and butter, which is very strong last patch. But in this patch, unfortunately, jumping is much, much worse than defense. And that means that one of her main defensive tools is now gone, leaving her with a very bad reversal super. Like, it's not the worst, but it does very low damage, does not lead to great Oki, and it often whiffs or clashes with things. Where you place her really depends, I think, on how much you believe she can be further developed. I think we know most of the things as of now. Basically, you can't really loop Oki unless you spend 50 meter. And if you're spending 50 meter to loop Oki, then I think basically any character can loop Oki. Right now, she really gets carried by the fact that she gets very strong Oki from sweep. But that Oki is so much worse against characters with DP, for the most part, and good reversal supers like Rams, that she seems very polarizing. Even if it's against good characters like Mei and Giovanna, just because the fact that they don't have great reversal supers make the matchups infinitely more tolerable than a character like Kai and Chip, who might even be worse arguably, but when you no longer have the win condition that you can just loop Oki with no risk, and you actually risk, dying to a DP and taking 50% damage from a reversal super or more, and then getting Oki, and now you have the worst defense in the game, or tied for the worst defense in the game. That's really fucking bad. She also doesn't get good like combos out of mashing to P. I will say the 6P universal buffs, that almost every 6P is significantly better, does help her significantly. But again, this is basically every character got significantly better anti-airs. from 6P. And honestly, Amelia was one of the best characters anti-airing pre-patch or like the previous patch because she had really, really good air-to-airs and she got high damage from air-to-airs. In this patch, she gets very mediocre damage from air-to-air and they're harder to confirm. And they don't really give any damage on some characters that fall fast, such as Mei and Leo and Nagariyuki and Potemkin. Bad Moon got absolutely neutered. It used to be a strong special. You could use it in neutral. You could use it in pressure. Right now, it does like 2 damage. Does not give you Oki or even pressure mid screen. Scales all combos incredibly harsh. Is very punishable on block. So like if they ever guess right, you take way more damage than you would actually deal hitting the Bad Moon. Unless you have meter with Bad Moon, you're basically entering a terrible mix-up. And for a character like Amelia, who is supposed to be really good at mix-ups, having such a bad one is very sad in my opinion. Like she's just so much worse at pressuring people now because of that. She lost a ton of stuff. She does get helped by the new wall break changes, and she does get helped by 6P in some ways. However, because of movement being worse, and she's a very movement-based character, because of jumping being worse due to improved anti-airs and more landing lag, or more, you can actually be punished when you land. Due to Bad Moon being worse, she feels significantly weaker in neutral, significantly weaker damage-wise, like maybe does half damage compared to optimal combos pre-patch. If she still wants to keep Oki. Yeah, like just feels significantly worse. On top of that, she has very, very low life. Contender for the worst, for the easiest character to lose on defense because she has no reversal like Chip does, even though Chip has technically lower life. And the main problem is just that she's very setup based, very hard to play. If you make a mistake, you get wake up thrown, you basically lose the game super easily. I don't think she's terrible, but I think playing her as a main makes very little sense if you're trying to win a tournament, if you're trying to just win, because she's extremely fragile and doesn't really have many ways to safely pressure most characters while still being scary, unlike previous patch, and loses very hard to a couple of characters like Chip, like Ram, like Soul, like Potemkin. I think she loses to Faust. I think she loses to Leo. Leo's at maybe. Axel's probably even, or maybe Axel's favor. Eno could go either way. I could see her lose that because if you ever get knocked down, probably wins against Nagariyuki. Mei and Giovanna, I'm not sure. Giovanna felt really hard, but that was really early. Almost certainly loses to Kai, in my opinion. Yeah, we'll have to see. I could maybe, like, she's such a hard character to rank. She could definitely go up like 2 tiers with just a lot of work. But I think in general, people always overrate characters like Amelia because they expect perfection. And in tournaments, grand finals, the sets that matter the most, people never play perfect. People fuck up all the time, especially when they're playing hard characters. And if you do not account for people being human, then I think your tier list fucking sucks and is irrelevant. So with that said, I'm going to put her somewhere in B. Really hard to say exactly where she is. She could be A at best, and she could be C at worst. I think she's both a contender for the worst character and also a contender for the best character. no, sorry. For contender for like top 6. It really, really depends on how much she can be pushed and how much the top tier is eventually getting nerfed. Ram, Axel, Anji. Okay, Ram is S tier. She is incredibly simple. All her basic stuff is insanely strong. Far S is a fucking war crime. Does way too much damage, has basically no end lag, has insane damage combos from everything. Anti-airs, throws, air to airs. Like she has a good like she can mash out of pressure. She has good frame traps. She has one of the best dashes in the game, so she can like really quickly run up, throw you, and you can't react to it. Insanely broken air normals, jumping slash, jumping heavy, jumping punch, jumping kick, all insanely good. Rekka still gives hard knockdown. Daru loops are still kind of there, although she does get slightly worse damage. Just plays the game so perfectly well. Is simple, abuses wall break better than any other character. And wall break is even more impactful this patch than previous patches. So the fact that she can get it consistently is insane. Actually got buffed in some ways in terms of her combos. Due to the swords having more hit stun now. And yeah, has great anti-airs. Yeah, still burst save combos. And because she no longer has to deal with Potemkin being S tier, like, really, it's just really helpful. The movement nerfs really mess with them? No. Her air backdash is a little worse, but she never needed it. What else? Yeah, I mean, she's super easy, carries people really hard. Her reversal does 80% damage and gives Oki. The fact that she is the only character that like her grab. Not only does she get like safe jump and cross up and everything, but even meterless, you can do her a special sword move and do like make her throw actually do the same damage as a wild throw from Soul, and that's honestly ridiculous. The fact that she is a long-range character with high speed, high mobility, top-tier reversal, max damage, burst safe, average health character. It's too much in one character. It's too much. I think she has some cool stuff that she should keep, but like she basically has zero weaknesses, and the only one you could say is that if you somehow use the broken sword toss move and you don't kill them, which you often do, you have to play like 5 seconds with only average normals instead of top tier ones. But it doesn't even take that long. Wall break resets it. You can grab them like just by walking to them. Yeah, it definitely needs a nerf. Axel next. I think Axel is somewhere around here. Very good as well. Probably only going to get better as people get really solid with zoning. I didn't play too much against Axel though, but I did play more than last patch. Very, very solid. Has a lot of good matchups. I know like Sodomains really hated it. I know Eno players don't like playing against Axel. I played with Amelia and it felt really like if I got in, it was so bad for him, but it was really hard to get in, especially now that like the movement nerfs are slower. The fact that anti-airs are better, those things really help him. The fact that you can get hit when landing from a jump now is a massive buff to Axel. The only thing is that he seems to have lost some small things, like his time stop super isn't as broken anymore. But I honestly never thought it was gonna stay that way anyway. Okay, who's next? But yeah, definitely want to see more Axel. Underplayed character for sure. Anji. I played Anji myself. Anji's a hard character to rank. I think it's really hard to talk about Anji because I kind of wish he was more based around Oki and not just around his armor moves. He's super polarizing in how good some of his moveset is. Apparently, he really can't deal with DPs well. After doing Fujin, which is his main like mix-up tool. Feels like it's pretty easy to lower the effectiveness of a lot of his tools as you get better. But if you haven't played against Anji much, and I haven't actually played much against Anji, I've only played a little bit with Anji. I think he's very, very scary and does do really high average damage. Has great normals. Has some mix still. And uses meter well. Like, I don't know. We'll have to see, but I can definitely see Anji being very, very strong. Thank you so much, Bose. So it's really hard to talk about where he is. I think he's somewhere around here. Like somewhere in mid tier. Honestly, most of this mid tier is super close between. The thing is, for me, I was looking forward to playing Anji, but because he's much more about armor now and less about Oki, I feel less interested in him than like Kai. I think he could change a lot if his Oki got like slightly better. If Butterfly was like a little bit more usable in neutral or in block strings. But don't get me wrong, he's still really strong. Definitely not bad at all. Who's the next character? Leo. Where is Leo? Leo got some nerfs, but I still think Leo's super solid. Not super scary though, not super fast. Really just comes down to like how well people are gonna be able to keep him out. Like how much damage he's gonna get from his mix. Did not seem super strong, but it's still solid. It has good normals, high health, DP. His fireball is great. Just didn't see too much of him, but definitely did not feel weak at all. I'd probably plays him around here though. Who's the next character? But yeah, like sorry, I need more info on the gorilla himself. Putting everyone in B. You probably noticed that a lot of these characters seem pretty fairly balanced. I might move them in tiers later, but a lot of these characters are really fairly balanced. I could probably do like this. But the gap between these two are small. Do we have another character? Or should any primers who want me to talk about any other characters left? I mean, we don't have that many left. B plus. It's basically B plus, yeah. Can you say Soda next? Sure. I think Soda is very, very interesting. He's the biggest question mark for me. I would like if I had to place him, I'd do like this. Or no, like this is my question mark. He got significantly buffed from last patch. I hear that his 6P setups are really good. He had his 6HS is really good. I really, really, really want to play Soda on release. I hope he's good. He would be one of my top choices for people to main. I think he's gonna be super scary once people learn him. It all comes down to if he has any terrible matchups. Right now, when you see people play Sado, they just play very, very basic stuff. Like just mix up with throw or not throw. I think he could be, if I had, if someone paid me a like told me to like put him and like they would tear off a limb from every placement he was off, he ended up being off. So if he's like 2 tiers below, there's like 6 limbs, right? Or like if I put him 2 tiers below where he actually should be, I'd lose like 10 limbs. I would say if I had to call it, I'd put him here. If I had to call it. That's just my feeling of like, I think he can get better. I think he can actually be really strong, but he's going to take a lot longer than the average character. He is the hardest character to play. Gun to my head, I think he's B+. But right now he's with Nagariyuki because he's too hard. You gave an excuse for the same reason with Amelia? Yeah, but that's just the thing with these characters that like with Amelia, I feel like 90% of her game plan's already there. She can get better at mixing, but ultimately we already have extremely good mix. It at this point it really comes down to can you loop it, which it does not look like you can very often, or at least that it's not worth to try to loop. And then secondly, is it how good is her neutral / defense? Which is not great. Let's do Potemkin next. I think Potemkin still probably around here. Honestly, too good for me. I think Potemkin should be down here. That's a slow moving grappler that it relies on armor move and lack of movement defines them with high health and high damage should never even be mid tier. It should be low tier every single time. Every single fucking time. Never ever should a Potemkin type character or a Zangief or a fucking Abigail ever be even high tier. You can have a command grab and still be high tier. You cannot be a slow moving armor based character that presses 3 buttons a match and be high tier. They are never fun to play against. Never. Never. No one fucking likes playing against Potemkin. It's not fun to tickle someone, then they do wake up command grab and you actually explode. Those type of characters should be C. But I don't think he is. I think he's B. Yeah, no, it's like heavies in Smash. They're supposed to struggle. They're supposed to struggle way harder than they actually are. Next up, we have Faust. I think Faust is actually really good in this patch. 6 P buffs are huge for him. I think the 6 P buffs are huge. In this current patch, he might legitimately be up here because he has insane mix loops. Apology Man should have them. But these are likely to be removed. Like, look at this.
There's the Faust B&B.
And like, he has some pretty scary stuff now. But I don't think that's gonna stick. So assuming it doesn't stick, I think he's down here somewhere. Assuming it doesn't stick, I think he's here. Somewhere around here. But all of these are like basically unordered. And that just leaves us with one. Soul fucking bad guy. For some reason, he fucking got buffed. 5k has less recovery. It was already by far and away the best normal. And we're just gonna do this because I legitimately think Soul is a tier above every other character. Soul is so fucking stupid in this game. This game, basically no character has plus normals. Period. But Soul has plus normals on his far slash. Not his close slash only. He has plus 3 on his close slash. And he's plus 2 on his far slash. Far slash anti-airs. It hit confirms. It is plus. It moves him forward. And then he has 6S, which works like a regular far slash, like a Kai far slash. He has 2S that also works like a good neutral tool. The system changes makes it almost impossible to punish Gunflame, which is ridiculously plus. He kills you of 1 DP if he has meter, which he will always have if he ever wall breaks you. His 5k is 3 frame startup, hit confirmable, safe on block, you cannot bait it, has significantly less end lag. I think 10 frames less end lag. Wild throw does slightly less damage, but it was never that big of a deal. That like you wouldn't really ever wild throw outside of like ending a round anyway because it made you lose the corner. Yeah, like no, he doesn't need wild throw because he can just do regular grab. His commander, his supers are better now. His air tears are great. 6p is great. Far slash, again, fucking anti-airs for some reason. Still has really good combos. Shits damage. High health. Like, literally a perfect character. Literally a perfect fucking character. His DP is barely punishable. On whiff, it's really hard to punish. Yeah, the command grab super is super hard to punish. Yeah, like Soul is actually to a level where like in general, I like when they buff characters instead of nerf characters, but Soul needs some fucking changes. Soul needs some fucking nerfs. 5k cannot have that low lag. I've heard people try to say that you can like bait it. No. It is legitimately almost unbaitable. It is so ridiculously strong. 100% carries, 100% needs nerfs. He gets like 80% from Fafnir, close slash, 2 age, jump ins, fucking 2S from Ground Viper. Uses meter extremely well, builds meter well. Like, there's so much bullshit. Like, you can do like run up wild throw, and if they jump it, you RC option select and air throw them. Stuff like that. Yeah, basically, A tier needs slight tone downs. Soul needs a hammer to his fucking head. A nerf hammer, nerf bat. B plus is where I like for characters to be. I think this is a good spot to be. B needs buffs. C needs buffs. especially in my opinion, harder characters in B really need buffs. Because as I said, I don't think there's any reason to play a hard character like Chip or Amelia, or maybe even Sado if they're not S or A tier. Legitimately, why the fuck would you play a hard character where you have to spend a ton of time in training mode when you could spend that time analyzing matches or actually just getting better as a player because your character is simple and it's more reliable in tournament anyway. Hard characters need to be the best characters, or at least close to the best characters, or they are actually useless for anything competitive. It sucks to hear, but that's just the truth. If a hard character is mid tier, then they are effectively bottom tier. Because who is going to put in the time, and why would you put in the time to a character that's, even with perfect tech, still going to be mid tier? So I really hope they buff Chip, Sado, and Amelia the most out of any character. Straight up. Yeah, I'm a little biased, but I think in general, I think games where hard characters are the best characters are almost always better. Almost always better. I think Nago needs a buff, but not super significant. I don't think he's as bad as people make him out to be. I don't think he's as bad as people make him out to be, or even close. But he does struggle a bit too much with anti-airing, and ultimately he's not as scary as he should be. His command grab might need to do a bit more damage for it to be really scary. His blood rage pops for one bread and butter. No. If he does that, then you're not spending your meter wisely. He's not supposed to spend max blood rage every single combo. He's only supposed to do that when you know you can kill. I like that he has to manage it. He's not supposed to be a character that spams specials forever. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it on the tier list. Again, if I had to pick where Sado is, I'd put him in B+. I think in general you should buff every character in B. The game is generally balanced. I can even go as far as to say B- here. If I had to pick, he'd end up B+. Soul needs a nerf. Ram needs a nerf. Everyone else is kind of fine. Honestly, I think everyone else, balance-wise, is fine. I would like for the hard characters to be better, but I'm fine if Ino's the best character. I think that's okay. I think, personally, I like Amelia's design more to fight against than Ino's, because Ino has very low mobility. Or very limited mobility, rather. Which makes her very one-note to fight with many characters. Whereas I feel like Chip and Amelia are a lot more like diverse in how they move. But yeah, Ino could maybe go up to A tier. I think that's possible. But overall, I think the balance is fine outside of Soul and Ram. I would almost even give them like props that, like, you know, this is pretty good balance for a first patch. But Ram and Soul were already the two best characters in the previous patch. And they fucking buffed Soul. And they arguably did not even nerf Ram. While they fucked up Amelia and Pot. Like, Amelia got fucked up by the patch changes. Regardless of how good you think she is now, she got really nerfed. She only got one relevant buff, and that's a big fucking step down when she got that nerfed by universal system mechanics. I still have very good hopes that the beta is going to be different, and honestly, the patch we play now is probably not even the current patch that the developers are playing with. It's just a stable one that they know is not going to be too laggy or like too glitchy. Let me know if you want more content like this, more Guilty Gear content, more Smash content. Might upload this raw to YouTube. I'm sorry if it wasn't edited. Like, subscribe, all that shit. Twitch Prime. I will be streaming this game a fuck ton. I do want to compete in it. I do. However, we'll have to see if Soul is as good as he is now. I don't want to be a Soul main, so I'm not going to play him. And I will not main a low tier. I've always said this. I don't care if you put Melia, if you're like, oh my god, I think Melia is B. B is not good enough for a character like Melia. Melia is too hard. If I will main a top tier, I'm not a fucking high tier main, I'm not a fucking mid tier main, and I'm certainly not a fucking low tier main. My mother, my dad, my ancestors did not fight through wars just so I could waste my one and only life playing a fucking low tier. Okay? I'm playing a top tier, and I don't give a flying fuck what you guys say about any of the characters. I live in goddamn Europe. I have it hard enough fighting game-wise. Everything else-wise, Europe's great. But fighting game-wise, Europe is a rough place to live in. I'm already playing a 6-4 matchup in life. Or 4-6 matchup, I suppose. So I'm picking a top tier to even up the odds a little bit. I hope that top tier is Sasato, Amelia, Chip, Ino. But if it's not, then that's how it's gonna be. I hope Arxis lets me play the cool characters and not the lame characters. This is gonna be it for me. Goodbye, YouTube.